welcome to day 2, Desire Redefined, all about the body. How are you today? Let me know, let me know. Let's get into the vibes. Let's turn this up a bit. How are you? How are you? I'm so excited. If you're hopping on here live, let me know. If you're on the replay, say hello, hello. Day 2. Getting into the vibes. Dance with me, ladies. Jennifer, Vibalicious. I love that. I'm totally going to have to steal that. Vibalicious. Let's dance it out. Get into the vibes. Alrighty. How are you, ladies? Hello, hello. I always love getting into the vibes. It just feels so good, doesn't it? It just feels so good. Alrighty. Let's dive in, shall we? How are you, ladies, today? We are in day 2, which is so fantastic and fabulous. Yesterday was phenomenal. I cannot believe I was talking for like an hour and a half. So hopefully it was amazing for you, ladies. Sheila, hello, gorgeous. Maria, hello, beautiful. Hello, hello. So how are you ladies doing today? Let me know how you are feeling. How are you feeling? Did you watch all of day 1? And after day 1, just what's a shift that you have experienced, either how you're feeling or mindset that you've had? Because really, even just one day, like if I stopped right now and I didn't teach you ladies anything else, there's already been shifts inside of you. But can you believe it? We have 2 more days. So full lesson here today, all about the body. And tomorrow we're going to dive into the heart piece, which is such a very important piece. And honestly, a big piece that a lot of us actually avoid and neglect and don't go toward. And we have to, if we really want change and transformation and healing, and actually to be able to show up in everything that we do, but especially in intimacy and with our sexual self. So it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. Definitely felt a shift. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy. So happy. Just lights me up. I've been reading your ladies' comments, and some of you posted on the homework thread that I put out and just your biggest takeaways. And that is just for you to really honor what you are taking away, because like I said on day 1, this is a program. I'm going to be packaging this up later and selling this. So you are getting these goodies right now for you ladies watching this first time around for free. And so I'm not holding back. I keep thinking of more and more that I want to tell you ladies. And luckily I have my program after this, which I'll tell you about all tomorrow. But that's where we're going to really dive in more, because there's no way in 3 days that we're going to get really the big transformation, the healing that I know is necessary for you. And I know that so many of you are craving to have. And I wish I had a magic wand and could really provide that in 3 days. Like, wouldn't that be awesome? But I know we're like dipping into the pool of pleasure and transformation. So thanks for swimming with me. I love it. Yes, I shifted and opened up so much by doing the release of old fire and flush ritual. Isn't that amazing? I've done that several times before, and it's that act of really releasing. It really signifies to your system, to your body, to your mind, all the pieces that's like, we're done with this. Like, we're done, right? And it's going to take some multiple times to really shift that through, but there are a whole bunch that really got burned away and let go and flushed down the toilet with that, Jennifer. I could feel it in that post that you put. I really could feel that. So I can only imagine what that feels like for you. Yes, I told my hubby about just a kiss, just lying naked. He was like, yes. And we're not going to go so full into that here because we really dive that into the program. But when we actually open ourselves up to enjoying those, right? Just the kiss, and really experiencing the full expansion of that pleasure piece, then what we're doing is we're feeding the relationship that we have with ourselves, if we're doing, solo pleasure, or with a partner, where we're actually connecting on all of these ways throughout the week and throughout the day and throughout the relationship. So we're not putting so much pressure on the whole shebang of sex for everyone to get their physical satisfaction from. And the connection, because it's really all about connection is what it is. So it's just a lot of pressure. So to be able to cuddle, and I know one of you gals said yesterday too, of just to have the luxury of lying in bed. Heck yes, right? Right, ladies? That sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I'm so glad that day one was really good for you. And if you're watching this right now, if you haven't watched day one, totally okay. I'll have these 3 days. So I'll have today and tomorrow. And then just a reminder, on Saturday, I'm going to collapse the whole group down and it's going to go poof. It's going to go away. So make sure you catch up, go back and rewatch something if you want to. And I might even do a little extra gift and goodie for you ladies so you can hang on to a little bit longer, but let me think about that, and I'll let you know in the group, but I'm not going to say it here in the lesson, but I'll let you ladies know. So today, as we dive into the body, because our whole body, as I mentioned yesterday, our whole system here, we are a holistic system. So we need to really honor everything that's operating to support the desire that we want, to support our sexual self and how our sexual self wants to come out and play. And we want to look at the mind, but we can't just look at the mind. The mind is very, very, very powerful, but if we just hang out in the mind territory, we end up neglecting so many pieces that actually influence. And especially day 3 with the heart, we have to really pay attention to the heart piece, because the heart kind of trumps the mind if we're not being careful, because that's the source of everything that happens, and it's the heartbeat of everything. So we want to make sure that the heart is really being attended to. But the mind, we have to start with the mind, because that's a good way to really dip into that pool of pleasure and really start this shift in and to bring you onto this journey. So we start with the mind, and then we move to the body piece and understand the mind-body connection too. And what's so important, one of the big pieces that I want to share with you ladies, is about the expectations that we put on our bodies to show up and open up in sexual intimacy. And what happens, right? We talked a lot about the expectations and pressure that our mind puts on all sorts of things, right? The beliefs of how we should and have to show up and not show up and all of the pieces, right? And what happens is we are given so much crap information around how intimacy is supposed to look like. And I referenced this a little bit yesterday, but I want to dive in a little bit deeper, because when we put so much pressure on how pleasure arises in our bodies and how desire emerges in our bodies and what that looks like, if we're not given any information to really understand how our bodies operate, then we're just kind of running around in the dark. And I don't know about you, when I'm running around in the dark, I usually bump into stuff and it's pretty ouchy. So I want you to be able to understand that there are different ways that desire shows up in our bodies and in our minds. It's a mind-body connection that happens here. And as I mentioned in day 1, we are given these expectations that as women, our bodies and desire is supposed to show up spontaneously. It's called spontaneous desire, right? I mentioned yesterday about the movie scene where you just come home and all of a sudden you're supposed to want to rip your partner's clothes off. It's like, well, hold on here. We don't live in a vacuum, and a lot of us women, we don't have what helps a lot of men out, which is testosterone. And what testosterone does is it gives the body this hormonal boost to have this more spontaneous desire to want to initiate, to want to go play in pleasure land. And so many of us don't operate that way. A lot of us women do, but I'll talk about this tomorrow, and I kind of referenced it yesterday. Sometimes we actually are reaching out for sex, not because we actually desire to, but because we are anxiously reaching out for that external validation. So very different. So we want to be careful with that. But when we have this spontaneous desire, and I'm curious, ladies, if you have had this expectation that I'm just all of a sudden supposed to want to initiate with the partner. my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend, or, you know, even just, you know, if you're dating, any of those things, I'm just supposed to randomly poof, I want to reach out. Like desire is supposed to just kind of like whoosh, like erupt inside of me. And then I'm supposed to just want to have sex. And if that doesn't happen, what ends up happening is we start to get mad at ourselves. We start judging ourselves. We start criticizing ourselves, that we feel like a failure, that our bodies are not showing up how we see it showing up in like movies and pornography and all of these different pieces, or even in the beginning of a relationship. So I mentioned that teeny bit yesterday, if I remember correctly, that in the beginning of a relationship, we have all of our hormones are going. It's exciting. It's new. It's the puppy love phase. It's limerence is another one that it's called. It's new relationship energy that's there, but that's not sustainable, because all the hormones start to go down, and then all of our mind fears pop in, our heart resistance comes in, and our body, the spontaneous desire doesn't pop up as often. We just don't want to depend on spontaneous desire. And my nose is already getting itchy. If you're new to my world, you'll realize that when I get passionate about stuff, my nose gets itchy, which is so funny. It's so funny. It's like, all right, apparently I'm on to the right path if my nose is itchy. Little inside tip for Chelsea Land. So if we are fed this information either directly or indirectly, that we are to expect our bodies to all of a sudden feel this desire to want to be intimate, and then our mind goes, ooh, yes, I want to do that, and then we take an action from that place. We have a desire, and then a body desire, and then an action. So many of us are going to be waiting a really long time. A really long time. And this is where I see so many couples get into these negative feedback loops, because one person has a higher desire and they have more of that spontaneous boost of desire that happens inside of their body, and they more easily reach out. Whereas the other person is like, I don't know, I don't feel it. I'm not feeling any desire to reach out. I'm not feeling any sexual energy inside of me. I'm not feeling any good energy inside of me. So there's no reason for me to reach out because I'm not feeling it. So then we get into a negative feedback loop. But the thing is, we can't depend on that. How desire really looks inside of us is, for a lot of us women, is more of what's called responsive desire, where we really want to make sure that we are setting the stage for our bodies to come out and play. We're setting the stage and inviting pleasure into our bodies, that we are going into this place where we have our mind come in first to go, okay, all right, this is why my whole business is called intentional intimacy, because we have to be intentional about these things, ladies. Is we set the stage and really do the intentional actions to then make sure that our body is in this receptive mode of pleasure. And so let me share a little bit about what actually blocks this. So many of you ladies I know are entrepreneurs, that you have business, or maybe you're a mom, so you're in go, go, go mode all the time, which means you are in action mode, you are in doing mode, but you're in more of like, I gotta get shit done mode and productive mode and cross things off the list. And this is, and I know a lot of you are not new to this vocabulary, but this is a very masculine energy. It's a very lean forward energy. It's active. I have to be productive. I have to have an outcome. I have to have a goal. And remember, we talked about on day one that our sexual self and pleasure, it's not goal oriented. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to really, the action that is there is not for goal end and goal purpose. So what happens is, so many women are in this state day in and day out, where they're in do, go, go, go mode. Like they got to plan, what's for dinner tonight, and they got to clean the kitchen, and, the holidays are coming up soon. So having to plan that, there's so much that's going on in the mind that is then blocking the body from actually even feeling anything. And as women, if we are constantly moving through the world in this way, it's going to be really hard for your sexual self to come out and play, because what you're asking for her to do is to jump into a pool of pleasure, but there's no water in there. There's absolutely no water. So she's going to look at the pool and go, heck no, I'm not going to go jumping in there. We got to like fill it up with some things that I can splash around in and actually play in the feeling of pleasure. Yes, yep, exactly. And this is something we really have to pay attention to. So if we are in go, go, go mode, and we're in another place, we're in our mind, which is we're distracted, thinking about work, thinking about all these different things, the things that we have to check off. And we're just we're in the head energy. We're in the masculine mind head energy. So to have access to our pleasure, we got to sink down into our bodies. We have to expand and fill in that pool of pleasure so that we have more of this ability for pleasure and desire to actually blossom inside of us. It can't just poof, happen out of thin air. We are not like a light switch, ladies. We can't just light switch it up. Doesn't happen. I like to say we're more of kind of like a wood fireplace. Instead of a gas fireplace where we flip a switch, we're more of like a wood fireplace where we have to really warm things up. We need to set the stage. We need to actually cultivate the flame and protect that flame. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to be heated up. So, getting into your body, getting sunk into your body. And even as I said that, I like leaned back. So that is that feminine energy, a big piece of it, which is you are leaning back into your body. You are sinking into your body. You are in that receptive mode. You are in the pleasure of life. And if you are in go, 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 do mode, that you're worried about the day, you're worried about something coming up, and, especially for a lot of us entrepreneurs, it's like, oh my gosh, we're always thinking about stuff. There's always stuff that's going on. So we have to infuse things in the day. We have to infuse things in the day that brings us down into our body so that we are in more of a turned on state from day to day, so that when we actually want to turn the volume up a little bit and reach out to a partner or have some fun time with ourselves, it's a lot easier. We're not, sitting there with the hose trying to fill up the pool for like hours. It's like, no, this is not worth it. This is going to take forever. This is not going to happen. You want to constantly be filling up that pool of pleasure so that it's easier to splash around and play around in, if that makes sense. I cannot just flip a switch. No, I've shared this with my babe and girlfriends. Good. Yes, we can't just flip a switch. And there are times when maybe it feels like a flip gets switched, and that's more of that spontaneous desire. I'm not saying that for us women, we can't have that. We just don't want to just wait around and depend on it. It would be like the equivalent of me waiting around for just like the desire to go work out. And that's not going to happen, especially in the very beginning, because there's too much of a jump there. I need to set myself up for success and get my body in that motion and the habit of doing that so it becomes a natural part of my world. And I can't just poof. Well, I guess now a lot of us aren't going to the gym, but I'm not just going to poof, end up downstairs in my basement to go work out. I have to actually make sure that I'm cultivating a space to support myself to do that. We want to support our sexual self. Yes, wood fireplace. Love this analogy. I'm like an analogy queen. This is one amazing thing. One of the amazing things my dad passed down to me. He used analogies all the time, which I used to get super upset about. But now I use them all the time because it helps us understand something that is really kind of confusing with us, or we have this block in front of us, to look at it from a different angle. Then we go, oh, okay, that makes sense. So analogies are like amazing. Jennifer, hello, my dear. Yes, me too. Love it, love it. So, oh my gosh, you ladies have given me 77 hearts. I love you so much. Feeling all the love. So when we know that we can't just flip a switch, and that we want to actually feed the flame, feed the fire, fill up the pleasure pool, whatever analogy that you want to use, this is why things like self-care, this is why things like bath times, this is why like things like dancing and like beautiful candles and having the scents and smells really envelop you around in your day to day, because what you are doing is you are activating the body and the senses that are here and getting you into the lean back, so you can almost like a recliner, like lean back into your body and just receive and be. That's such a huge thing about our sexual selves, is to be able to receive, we need to be in be mode. And to be in be mode, we have to get into our body, because this is do mode, getting into our mind, the actions, the shoulds, the have tos, I have to do this, I have to do that, and everything, all the overthinking and things like, oh, I have to be perfect before I initiate, or I have to have my body look a certain way before, I go and have intimacy. All of those things, you are trapped up here in your minds. And I posted on my profile page, I think it was yesterday, that we want to be careful that we don't imprison our sexual self in our minds and not allow our bodies, because this is where we receive the pleasure. We have the pleasure in here, and our minds can be helpful, but it can also block things up pretty big time. So when we are in this be mode, that means that you are in a relaxed state. You're not doing anything. You're not trying to get shit done. You're not trying to be superwoman or anything like that. You are being your most goddess, beautiful, amazing self and receiving the pleasure that this world has to offer you. And then you get to more easily go into more of that sexual pleasure that's there. So one of the easiest things, like a very easy step that you can do on a daily basis, is just to pick one thing that you can do to really access more of your body, so that you are filling up that pleasure pool, so you're more in your body, so it's easier. So when your partner maybe reaches out and wants sexual intimacy, it's a lot easier to say yes, because you're not going from like level 0 and trying to hop over to 10. You're already like turned on in life and feeling good and feeling connected and feeling in your body. So the movement forward is not as big. It's a lot easier to transition into that time. And this kind of loops us back a little bit to what I was mentioning about that responsive desire, is you have to really know that your body takes time. It takes time for your body to respond to the request of, I want to be intimate. I want to really enter in to the bedroom, to use that as the symbol here for sexual intimacy, because happens oftentimes in the bedroom, but it doesn't have to, right? We can play anywhere, ladies. Safely, though, within the laws of your state or country. But we want to know that your sexual self, again, is not just at the snap of a finger, at a flip of the switch, is going to come out and play. We want to create some space and transition so that it's easier for her. You're almost inviting this part of you out to come and play. And so this might mean setting some candles at the end of the day. This might mean that, I don't know, maybe every Friday night is like sexy time for you and your partner. And even if you have kids, this is where you can set some really beautiful boundaries and show that it's okay to have privacy, and it's totally okay for mom and dad to have sexy time, to request that, you know what, mommy and daddy are going to be in the bedroom for the next, whatever time that you want to set, unless it's an emergency, we're going to be in here. I'm going to put you, use the TV as a babysitter. It's okay for, 30 minutes or whatever. So you set that time, and then now you can invite your sexual self to come out and play. And it's a lot easier to do that, again, if we are more in our bodies in a day-to-day basis, not so connected to phones, not so much in the do mode or working on your business all the time, or so much in mommy mode, right? If you're parents, you need to make sure that you are giving your space for you. Otherwise, your sexual self, there's no space for this part of you to come out and play. And holy cow, I am talking really fast. How you ladies doing? Are you keeping up with me? I am like all in the info vibe. So I'm like, bleh, here you go. So we're moving quickly on this because it's a lot of information. So this is where things like programs are working with me one-on-one. We get more of the integration, which is super amazing. And integration, we have to have the integration. So we want to know, right, that we are going to transition and invite our sexual self to come out and play, which means we have to do the things that are going to get you into your body, because that's going to be, it's like this warming up that we need to do. And so another analogy that I use, which is kind of crass, but as women, we usually are like an oven. So if you think of an oven, and if you're like preheating it to put a pizza in, how long do you usually have to preheat the oven for? You don't just like plop the pizza into the oven and expect it to get heated up and things to go well and to have this delicious, yummy pizza, right? What you need to do is you set the timer. I think I did a frozen pizza a while ago. I think it's like 20 minutes or something like that. So you preheat the oven and then you put the pizza in, and then there's like this cooking time that happens. So it's probably about 30 minutes before you actually get the pizza. So even when you have that mind thought, pizza, you're going to have some actions, and you're going to really have this space of warming up time that happens. The same thing happens for our sexual self, and the desire to really come out inside of you is you want to create the space and the platform for your sexual self to be dancing on and playing on, like we talked about yesterday. So time, space, really inviting your sexual self to come out and play is so huge. And so this means having this transition time, not only in the day-to-day, to have this time where you're in your body, that you're sinking into your body, that you are getting out of your head, right? Things like meditation and dancing. And I love listening to music. And sometimes I'll even get in the shower and just use a yummy like soap that I have, and it's lavender and it's so yummy, and it just smells so good. It gets me into my body, so that my sexual self, when I invite her to come out and play, she's like, heck yes, I'm already kind of warmed up. I'm already connected to life. I'm already feeling the senses. I'm already feeling some pleasure in the world, so we can turn up the volume on that more easily. Yes, Jennifer, you have to preheat. Preheat is the foreplay. And the thing is, though, what happens is we often plop into the bedroom and then expect that's when the foreplay starts. And we see that a lot in movies, and we talk about that in magazines, right? That foreplay happens like kisses and things, which is really helpful. And definitely, I'm not poo-pooing that by any means. But sex starts outside the bedroom. Sex means that you are on a day-to-day basis really bringing in the goodies into your body and feeling into your body and allowing yourself to sink into that and feel the pleasures of the world around you. And even immediately before having intimacy, you want to also have some time. I know for me, like after this here, if all of a sudden I shut off this computer and we end the lesson, not all of a sudden, but at the end of this, and say my husband asks me, hey, Chelsea, do you want to have sex right now? For me, that might be kind of jarring, because I'm in my mind right now. I'm in teaching mode, and it takes some time for me to sink back into my body. So it's okay to request that time and to give your sexual self the space that she needs to actually have and be able to play into the pleasure. Otherwise, you just go in the bedroom and you're still on your mind, and it's like, well, nothing's really happening here. So it's okay. So I could tell my husband, I'm going to actually go maybe hang out in the bath, or I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to take a shower to really kind of sink into my body a bit more so I can warm myself up. And then we can start moving in that direction. So you can advocate for your sexual self and whatever she needs. And you have to play around and figure out what this part of you needs to be able to warm up and preheat things so that you can actually more easily play. And there's so many different things, and every woman is different. Like I said yesterday, you are a unique sexual woman. You are a unique woman. Your sexual self is unique. So you have to play around with and explore what works for you, what really helps your body feel really good. So yes, the space is super important. I'm just checking my notes here, making sure I'm covering all the pieces I want to. So another thing too that I want to say in regards to the space piece, and this also ties into yesterday, so there's a lot of threads that connect in through these days, is you need some time for even more of that pleasure to come into your body. So not only are we doing transition time and this pleasure building, really you're building pleasure throughout the day, but you're also building pleasure before you play, but you're also building pleasure during the play too, because it's all play, right? Remember, it's play, no pressure, just play and pleasure. And as you're doing that, so many women often put pressure on themselves to one orgasm. We talked about that yesterday. Orgasm's not the end goal. But even if you really are, opening and desiring for orgasm, because there are some times, even when I'm playing with my husband, that, I just don't really want an orgasm right now, which sometimes guys are like, you don't want an orgasm? It's like, no, I just want, this is where I want to play. I actually want to play and focus a little bit on you, and I want to receive some of the pleasure, but orgasm, I just don't really want to have I'm not giving the space for that right now, and I'm choosing not to do that, not because I don't love my sexual self, but that's just not how she wants to come out and play today. But if you are wanting to have orgasm, which is totally fine to have or not have, right? There's neither a good nor bad or wrong or anything. It just is you have to make sure that your body has the time for that pleasure to build. You can't all of a sudden have your partner touching you, or even if you're doing self-pleasure on your own, to all of a sudden in like 2 minutes for orgasm to happen. That might happen sometimes, but sometimes it might take you 10, 15, 20 minutes for your body to really warm up even more, so that the pleasure rises and builds even more, so that you get to that peak climactic experience where the tension happens and then there's the release of the orgasm. You have to give the space for that. But oftentimes we get into our head and we expect, oh my gosh, I'm taking too long, or holy cow, I'm afraid to tell my partner that actually if you kind of shift your hands a little bit to the left, that would feel really good. Our minds and our bodies are really connected in that way. Yes, this is when we as women empower ourselves to say no, not right now. So powerful, Chelsea. Yes, exactly. We can say no. We can say no, and it's okay. It's how we say no, and to make sure that we are honoring ourselves and honoring our partner, which is really important. But that's when we have a conversation. The conversation gets to be so powerful if we actually have the conversation and really advocate for ourselves from this very good, healthy way that comes in from our hearts, which we'll talk about tomorrow, and to make sure that it doesn't mean anything. But this is where, when no does happen and we don't say it in a good way that doesn't kick the other person off in what I call intimacy limbo land, then what happens is there's frustration and resentment that happens. We make meaning around it. And we talked a bit about this yesterday, that, oh my gosh, that must mean that my partner doesn't like me. Or if I tell my partner no, that's going to hurt his feelings. Well, that's is where we talk about and go deep more into the relationship dynamic, which is in that next program I'll tell you ladies about. So yes, so we want to be in this place of we have to allow the space. You have to allow the space. Your sexual self needs space. And to be in the space, we can't be in the go, do expectations pressureville, because that's not going to give your sexual self the space that this part of you needs to thrive and play and really feel the full expansion of the pleasure. It's giving the space that's there, and that it's okay if you take some time. It's okay if you need some time to really warm yourself up before the bedroom. It's okay. All those things are okay, and it's okay to play with different things, right? Toys, all that stuff. It's okay. However your body wants to experience the pleasure is okay. As long as it's a yes for you and a yes for your partner and no one's getting hurt, by all means, go for it. You do you. Have fun. Have fun. So another thing in the mind that we often do is, in our mind and the connection with our body, is what we do is we are so mean to our bodies a lot of the time throughout the day. So mean to our bodies. We expect our bodies to perform. We expect our bodies to look a certain way. We expect our bodies to do certain things. And we even expect our mind, which is part of our body, to perform in certain ways. And when we have so much negativity that goes toward our bodies, and I'm going to raise my hand on this too. There are times when I'm not so loving toward my body. But the thing is, our bodies are the holders of our sexual self. We are unable to experience the pleasure of this world without our bodies. We need our bodies. And our bodies are such beautiful things. It's the vessel of our pleasure and our sexual expression of ourselves. And our highest self, our soul, comes in, and that's where our heart is. And we experience it in this physical world through our body. So we want to really appreciate our body and how beautiful it is. Yes, Jennifer, this is making sense as an anxious attachment to make this about pleasure and play and feeling into that, not making it more than that. Exactly, Jennifer. Because the meaning we put to things, that's going to really drive us. So we want to be careful with the meaning we put to things. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow with the heart. So in this place where our bodies are such beautiful, amazing things. Like, think about it for a second. Our bodies does so much. Like, our heart beats without us even thinking about it. Most of us can walk. Sometimes there's exceptions to that. We can go to the bathroom. Like, I know it's kind of a weird thing to think about, but how cool is that our body functions in all these different ways. And our bodies also, which we talked a little bit about yesterday with our clitoris that we have, that the only function of that is pure pleasure. So if that is there for pure pleasure and our whole body is connected to that part of us, then our whole bodies is like this whole amazing, beautiful, just vibration of pleasure that gets to be experienced. And it's also to have our mind say that that's okay to experience that, to accept that. Like, wow, my body is built for pleasure. My body is meant to be receiving this pleasure and to feel the good and the amazingness in this world, sexually and non-sexually. Like, pleasure is a piece of everything that we do, but we cut it off. We cut it off in our bodies. And I know I keep alluding to day 3. I'm super excited about day 3. That's why I left it at the end, because it's like the firework end of all this. It's like the climax of this whole piece is when we have, when we know that it's okay to be in our bodies, to play and feel the pleasure, then we are experiencing the full capacity that we can on this earth. And that is amazing. It's an amazing gift that our bodies really give to us. So if we think of our bodies as really the holder of all things that is pleasurable and beautiful and amazing, then wouldn't we just be in awe by our bodies rather than expecting it to have to look a certain way in order to then feel pleasure, or that there's something wrong with our bodies for X, Y, and Z reason? Wouldn't it be such a better idea to look at our bodies and go, wow, wow. Just think about that for a moment. Wow. Can you really hold on to just the love and appreciation of your body, and not just your body as a whole, but if we zero in, so if anyone of you have read the book Pussy, which is an amazing book, I love that. There's so much more that can be said on that book, to be honest. But, there's so much that gets said around our genitals, and she uses the word pussy, which I know can be really startling for some, but it's our pleasure source. It's our power source. It is something that is so amazing and beautiful and fantastic about every single body that we have. And holy hot dog, this is just coming up for me right now. I love this, is because everybody's pussy, our genitals, everybody is completely different. Everybody is completely different, right? Your body is completely different, and everything about you is unique and different. So if everything about you is unique, right? Your sexual self is like this beautiful snowflake. That means your genitals, your pussy is also this amazing snowflake, which makes sense because the way your sexual self is expressed is going to be unique too. So we want to honor the uniqueness of this part of you, but oh my gosh, so many women feel that, well, just because my inner labia stick out, past my outer labia, or that, it's darker than somebody's or lighter than somebody's, then there must be something wrong with me. No, That's just society saying that we all have to look the same and be perfect and uphold a certain image in order to then receive pleasure. But ladies, you don't have to do anything in order to be deserving of the pleasure that your body holds. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to look differently. Your body is amazing just the way it is. Your pussy is amazing just the way it is. Just the way it is. And you don't need to alter anything. You don't need to judge yourself. You don't need to do any of those things. That's just society telling us that we have to look a certain way, be a certain way, all those different things. The only thing that we really have to do is just be and accept and go, wow, my body is amazing and I can experience so many things in my body. I have so much pleasure in my body, and to really own that and believe that and say, heck yes, I deserve this. Nothing needs to change. Literally in this second here right now, you don't need to do anything different. Nothing different. Your body has the ability to give you the pleasure that's there. There are some things that do need to be healed because things have happened to you. You have been given shit. You've experienced the shit in this world. And so there's a lot of healing and uncovering that needs to happen so that your heart trusts that you can actually accept your body and be in your body so that you can experience the pleasure that your body has and for your sexual self to come out and play. But that doesn't, you don't have to do anything different except heal what's inside. So it's really becoming you and coming back to yourself. Yes, book recommendation from Dr. Chelsea, Pussy Reclamation. Yes, exactly. It's a good one. It's a good one. And we'll actually be, and I postponed the date, but we will be talking about that in the my free Facebook group as well. So we'll do a discussion around that. So it'll be super, super amazing, super fantastic. So we want to understand that if we are judging our bodies, what we're doing is we're restricting. It's almost like if we think it's almost like a heart vessel. A heart vessel. We're like restricting the vessel when we expect and put all these pressures, and we hate our bodies or we judge our bodies, or we're really frustrated that our body is not showing up in XYZ way. If we do that, we are restricting. And again, that's kind of the image I said of yesterday, that we really imprison our sexual self and we're collapsing around it. But we want to open, we want to release, we want to expand so the pleasure and the experience can flow, that there is flow that happens there. But if we restrict things down, then we're not going to get any flow whatsoever. So we want to get into our bodies. And I'm curious, ladies, how do you feel toward your body right now? How do you feel toward your body? Do you even pay attention to your body? Sometimes what happens is it's not that we're negative toward our body, but we're like neutral. We're like, I don't know, my body's okay. It's okay. I don't hate it. I don't love it. This is where then you can also turn up the volume, where you are doing the things on the day-to-day to really give pleasure into your body, is to also love your body. Like this beautiful, it's this beautiful container for pleasure that's there. And it's this amazing thing that we want to go, wow, this is beautiful. You want to adorn your body. It's almost like you are like this beautiful queen goddess, and to really put things on your body. This is why I wear, oftentimes like really beautiful things. I like to curl my hair. I like to just give my body some loving, because when we give our body some loving, our sexual self, it signals to our sexual self that, hey, it's okay to come out and play. It is okay to come out and play, that you are deserving to come out and play, and that this body, for you to experience the pleasure, is a beautiful thing to come out and play in. So by doing those things and really making sure that you are being so loving toward your body is such an amazing and beautiful and important thing. And it's so much easier when you are giving so much love toward your body and you're being more in your body. Then it's just kind of a hop and a skip over into more sexual intimacy because you're already feeling good. You're already feeling connected to the pleasure of the world. You're already in your body. So it's just, you just kind of lean over here to go into more of that sexual intimacy rather than you're like way over in Timbuktu and to be thinking of any idea to go into sexual intimacy. It's going to be like, heck no, it's going to be too much effort. Well, this is when we are intentional, right? The intentional intimacy that on a day-to-day basis, we are giving our bodies love, that we are opening up ourselves to receive the pleasure of this world on a day-to-day basis so that your sexual self can go, yes, I want to then emerge more into the sexual intimacy and I want to experience more of that sexual pleasure with the partner or with yourself. And it becomes easier to play in that. It becomes more expansive, right? It goes back to that word of space that we have. And I want to say something that's coming up in my mind here is I really want to emphasize again how connected our minds and our bodies are. Our bodies can't just show up and have the, pleasure or the sexual energy arise in us on just a whim. Our minds and also our hearts are really going to influence the pleasure that our bodies receive. And oftentimes what happens, this is where things like, where if you have, say, pain in sex that happens, or if you've had sexual trauma in the past, if you've had a negative experience with your body, with your sexual self in any way that's happened, even if it's not in a sexual form, sometimes our genitals can be traumatized by something different. Maybe it was you went to the gynecologist and that was a very traumatizing experience for your body. What happens is the mind and the body get caught on this negative feedback loop and system that we have to break through and disconnect, because what happens is if your genitals experience something that was not safe, that your sexual self was like, what the F just happened? What happens then, your whole body is going to go like this, and it's going to go, nope, I don't want that to happen. And so your mind is then saying, nope, that was scary, I don't want that to happen again. So your body's like, you are right, you are totally right, that was totally awful, I don't want to have that happen again, so let's clamp down even more, right? This is where things, right, like painful sex, all those pieces, or if it's really hard to orgasm, a lot of the times our bodies are just in a constant tight tense mode. It's clamped down. And remember, we don't want the clamp down. We want the opening and the release. But then we have this feedback system where the mind is like, nope, that wasn't good, that wasn't safe, and the body agrees, so it restricts. And because the body is restricting, then the mind is going to go, see, this is not safe, this doesn't feel okay. And sometimes what happens, and I've seen, this is when I was working very deeply in this, when I was working with couples, that happened too, is this is when the negative feedback system also happens if you were in relationship, because a lot of women would then kind of push through that and say, well, maybe if I just push through penetration, it'll just get easier. But you can't do that. You have to give the healing process, which is I could do a whole nother program on all of this piece. But I just want to emphasize here that your mind and your body is so connected, because, right, mind saying, no, I don't want this. Body's like, I agree with you. And because the body agrees, the mind's like, see, yep, you're right. I don't want to have this happen. And then we're bouncing back and forth. And this can happen on big extreme pieces, or even not some extreme pieces where maybe, a partner kept always asking for sex in the past, and you learned to shut down your sexual self because he kept asking or she kept asking over and over and over again. And you were like, well, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. And I feel frustrated. I feel guilty that it keeps saying no. And sex becomes an unsafe place to go. And then you start restricting your body more. So our bodies and our minds are so connected, so connected. And this gets in, and I'll say this now because it'll blend us into tomorrow in our day 3 with the heart piece and this is why the heart and the trust inside of yourself, because so many of us women actually stay in our mind and don't open up our bodies and feel safe to be in our bodies, because our hearts are actually like, no, there's a lot of pain that gets trapped in our hearts. There's a lot of tension that gets trapped in our hearts. There's a lot of healing that needs to happen in our hearts. And we have to do that piece. Otherwise, our mind and our bodies are going to keep getting, it's like they're kind of over here having this conversation. So if we don't bring the heart into the conversation, then there's no transformation that gets to happen. And so I'll give an example of how the mind and then the body and start to segue us into that heart piece, and how that plays in just in a personal experience within myself is, where are we at right now? We're in November, right? As I'm recording this and we're doing this live here, is many months ago, about 6 months ago, I had surgery because I had an ectopic pregnancy. So my husband and I had been trying to get pregnant since last year. And some people know this if you're in my programs or in my personal Facebook group. And we had been trying, I had an ectopic pregnancy on last year in October or in August. Time is weird. And I actually had to get chemo for about 3 months and get a chemo shot, and it was there, and I had to keep going back and to make sure it dissolved the pregnancy, because it was in my fallopian tube, which was very life-threatening and dangerous. So I had to do that the first time. And then about 6 months ago, we had gotten pregnant again. And in May, I had actually gone emergency surgery into the hospital. My fallopian tube had burst, and it was my left fallopian tube. And so I had to go in very, very quickly. My doctor, when I had the ultrasound, I was sitting in the waiting room after, and she like walked in the front door, and she's like, you need to go back into surgery like right now. So it was immediate surgery that happened, and everything turned out okay, which is good. My body's all healed and everything. It was amazing. And my doctor said I got hit by lightning twice because I had those 2 ectopics and then almost died. So I'm glad I'm here talking to you ladies. And I've talked about it a lot, the emotion, and I processed through the emotion a lot. So I brought my heart into it, and trusting in the whole process that everything is going to be okay. And so what happened though, sexually, is for a little bit, my mind was like, I don't know, like, how is this going to look? How is this going to be? Like, I was afraid. My mind was fearful of experiencing orgasm. My mind was fearful of having sex with my husband for a little bit. And my mind was fearful even self-pleasure, because even though that part of me wasn't really included in the whole surgery process, it was still involved with, this beautiful part of me, and the whole part of me is now missing. So I had the mind piece, which is, is my body going to be okay? Like, is my body going to respond to pleasure and sexual intimacy, and even intimacy with myself and playing with myself? Is it going to be okay? Like, even as I'm talking about it, I can feel, right, tension, which is something to pay attention to, ladies. Whenever you are up in your mind and you're thinking about something, or there's something anxious that's going on, check to see if you're squeezing your PC muscle. Because what we do is we lock down our vaginas and we lock down all the muscles on there, because that's our most vulnerable part of ourselves. Our pussies are our most vulnerable part of ourselves. So if we're in anxious place, right, it's going to get a little tight. So just pay attention. I can feel I could feel as I was talking about that, my body tensed up a little bit, because just even the thought and the memory of that, my body's like, yeah, I remember how that was kind of scary. I don't like that. So then imagine when we've had sexual trauma, we've had healing, or we've had these, negative, bad, icky experiences in the past to our bodies, then our minds and then our hearts, which we'll talk about tomorrow, get involved and feel like, I don't know, is this safe? Is it okay to let go? Is it okay to release? Is it okay to receive? Do I trust that it is okay to be vulnerable and to be open, even with ourselves? So what I did in this experience that I had is I told my husband that I'm not quite ready to be sexually intimate with you in, the full blown capacity. And like we talked about yesterday, it doesn't have to be the whole shebang of sex, but I wasn't quite ready for that. And so what I wanted to do, and this is what we get to do for our sexual self, is we take steps. It's like going into that pleasure pool again. We want to take safe steps into the pool and like dip our toe in and then our ankle in and then our go up to our knees, and then we keep moving up and until we feel really comfortable to splash around and play. And then we have like toys and noodles in the pool and all this kind of stuff, and it gets to be a so fun adventure. But sometimes we're afraid to get in the pool, and we have to take steps to actually do that. And so what I did is I was like, no, I need to play with myself a few times just so I can really have that feeling of trust. And I remember it was a self pleasure, and I busted out my vibrator, and I could feel and I could experience my mind saying, no, no, I don't know. Is it going to be okay? Is it going to be okay? I don't know. I don't know. And I could feel my body starting to tighten up, and I could feel that pleasure, right? The portal to your pleasure. If we tighten up our bodies, that closes off the portal to your pleasure, which is also the portal to your power and everything that's inside of you. And so I could feel it starting to condense down and collapse down. And I took a breath. And this is where, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, the heart piece where I trusted in me. And then I built into, not that I needed to trust my partner, but to trust that in partnership that sexual intimacy would be okay. But I wanted to take the step with myself. And I knew, okay. And I told myself, and my heart believed it too. Our hearts need to believe it. This is why just mindset stuff and just affirmations don't work, even though yesterday those mindset shifts are really valuable and important. But my body, and I took a breath, and I sunk into my heart, and I was like, okay, I trust myself, and I trust that my body will tell me and my heart will tell me if I need to stop. But if I really truly need to stop, not just because I'm afraid to and my mind's telling me to not do it because it's afraid, but my body actually really wants to, and my sexual self is really telling me I need to stop. So I trusted that, and I took a big breath, another big breath, and I let that go. And I had my mind, it's okay. I'm going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. And I could feel my body start to opening back up again. And then, even though, of course, orgasm is not the end goal, my body had all that pleasure and everything was okay. It's going to make me tear up. I was just relieved, and I was like, okay, I'm okay. My body's okay. I trust my body again. I trust that it was okay to open up because my body had been traumatized in that surgery and just the whole experience that I had. And this can come in all shapes and sizes of how our bodies get traumatized and our hearts get traumatized, to let go and receive and be open to the experience of the pleasure that happens. And I tell you this because I want to really show and emphasize and let you know that I get it. I don't just teach women this stuff, but I've experienced these things too. I've experienced all of these things, and I understand. I understand our mind, our bodies, and our hearts are all connected. And so I share that story with you to connect with you and to know, and for you to know that it takes some time for us to build that trust. And I had worked so much on my heart piece that I was able to tell myself in that moment that I trust myself and I trust this experience to let go. And then I got to bring that into the partnership with my husband, right? But it felt safer for me to do it with me first because there's another variable when we have another person, right? So just in sharing that piece, that allows, right, when we open our body with our mind and our hearts, what we do is we open up the flow. We open up that portal for pleasure. And sometimes it takes some time. If we've been really restricted in our bodies for a long time, and if we are in the go, do mode all the time, then our bodies are tense, in a constant state of tense mode. But to feel in that pleasure and to really access the desire within inside of you and have your sexual self really come out and play, then it's going to take some time to almost just kind of have the sigh come out. So it takes some healing for a lot of us. And a lot of us have had some pretty not so fun stuff that has happened to our sexual self in the past. And so it's going to take some time for that release and that opening to happen. If it's been like this, to then trust that we can open, and leave open this pleasure portal that's there. Because ultimately, that's the place where that's where our sexual self is the most happiest. And our sexual self is not only, I like to call it our innermost desire too, because it's not only just in the sexual side and in the bedroom, it's just the desire for life and just the pleasure that we receive in life. And so we want to keep that opening. We want to have our bodies and our minds and our hearts be in that open place. And I know a lot easier said than done. I totally understand that. And one last thing that I'll say today, although I said that like 3 times yesterday because more things just keep coming up and coming up, is when we are in, this fear place and our mind is like, I don't know, like I was telling you with my self-pleasure that I did, or just on a day-to-day when we're in that go activation mode, you are in what's called this place of your sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, or freeze response, or even there's been new research on the fawn response, which is what I used to do up the wazoo, which is people pleasing all the time. So when we are in these activated protection modes all the time, what happens is our nervous system and our bodies in of itself is in restrictive mode, and it's like primed and ready to go to like run or to like fight somebody or to do something. Our bodies are primed to do in that place in our sympathetic nervous system, and we're being too activated. This is why they, if you've read things like, okay, we're in constant places of stress that is there all the time. This is why, because we are activating our sympathetic nervous system all the time, as if, I'm sure you've heard it, as if like a saber-toothed tiger is running after us. But if we're just like sitting on the couch, right, we don't need to like protect ourselves from a saber-toothed tiger, but our bodies think that we need to. So in what we want to do, and this is where accessing more of the pleasure inside of you and letting your sexual self really come out to play, is you're bringing your nervous system down to the place of the parasympathetic nervous system. I always tongue twist on that one. And it's where things, right, the parasympathetic. So it's no coincidence that it starts with the P, because this is where our body gets to feel more pleasure, that it gets to flow, that it gets to open up, that it gets to let go, that it gets to receive and actually stop and smell the roses. But if you're in constant activated, fearful place and being in these action places all the time and action do all the time and in your mind all the time, then you can't stop and smell the roses. And smelling the roses, right? Taking a bath, doing all those things, dancing to music, that is the place where you actually are in that calmer, parasympathetic, everything is okay. I trust that everything is okay. I'm okay, that there's this low calm that's here. And this is where, see, even as I'm talking about it, I can feel my body just like, just already getting into it. That's how attuned our bodies are. Even as I'm talking about it right now, my body is responding to, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds really nice. That sounds really calming, rather than like, oh my gosh, I have to clean my office. I have to make sure I clean the kitchen before dinner time tonight. I have to make sure that I, upload X, Y, and Z. And, I have a client I want to respond to after this. And oh my gosh, I haven't texted my sister back. That just brings up, right, the body anxiety level. So to be able to play in pleasure, we want to be in that parasympathetic nervous system area, which means we want to be in the calm and the pleasure and the flow, and know that it's okay to do so, right? And there goes my nose again. And I forgot my tissues. Ladies. Bad news. All right, check in. Last bits of my notes. We are wrapping up here. How are you ladies doing? Let me know. And if you have any questions, now's your chance to ask. And let's see. Yes. That is it for today. I'm so excited. And tomorrow we are going to really wrap into that last piece of the heart. And as I've been talking about, the heart is such an important piece. It's so important. And all of these pieces combined and really expanding on all of them is what will allow you to open up so that your sexual self can actually breathe. We don't want to keep this part of you like locked into a bedroom or like a dark cell off into the corner with like cement and like gross food and water being given to her through like a dog door or something. Like, no. We want to let your sexual self come out and play in the light and the sunshine and just have so much fun with things. So I want to really make sure, yes, thanks for sharing with us and thank you for this masterclass. You are so welcome, so welcome. And I want to end today. I really loved ending yesterday with a little meditation, and it felt really connecting for me. And I want to do that again here today. So if you could stay for the last couple minutes, that is great. And if you need to hop off, that's okay too. But I really want us to do a body honoring meditation to really touch into ourselves and just give us a little body love. A little body love never hurt nobody, that's for sure. All right, I'm going to put on our song here. Play this little piece. Oh, let me pull it up. Give me just 1 second. All righty. Take a big, deep breath. Close your eyes. And I want you to actually put your right hand on your heart. And I want you to put your left hand, if you feel comfortable, I want you to just rest it either on your pussy or just right above. This beautiful part of you that really allows you to open up to the pleasure that's in and all around your body. It's the source of all pleasure. It's the portal of all pleasure. It's the portal of your power that you have as a woman and as a sexual woman. And I want you to take a big breath and sink into your body, sending love. And I have your left hand on your pussy right now because the left side of our body is where our feminine energy really thrives. And I want you to send love to your body, anything that comes up in your mind right now. All the goodies. I love you, body. Thank you so much for letting me receive all the pleasure I have already received in this world up to this moment, and I open myself to receiving more pleasure. And even if it's scary for me right now to sink more into my body, I am going to keep dipping my toe and my body further and further into that pleasure pool. Because opening up to my body, opening up to the pleasure, opening up to what this world has to offer and what my body has to offer is so magnificent. The amount of pleasure that our bodies can hold is more than our minds can even understand and comprehend. It is beyond what we can even imagine. How amazing your body is. Send the love that's there. Take a big deep breath. Breathe in the love. Breathe out anything that feels not serving of your sexual self. Any hatred toward your body. Breathe in the love. Breathe out anything that does not support your sexual self, does not support the love for your body. Smile for your body. Honor your body. Create another declaration that you will do what you can to make sure pressure. Take a big deep breath. Push your hands a little bit harder on your body and say, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for all the pleasure I have received and all the pleasure that will be. I'm learning to trust. I'm learning more to receive. Take a big deep breath, ladies. Come back to me. Come back, come back. Sending you so much love, and I am so excited for day 3. And I want you, for your homework, is to focus on one thing that you can do in the next day, one thing in the next day where you can be in honor of your body and love your body and give space for your body and your sexual self, because your sexual self will come out and play and thrive when you are more in your body. So pick one thing, whether it's taking a bath tonight, whether it's going on a walk, whether it's going out and standing and putting your face up to the sun and receiving the pleasure of that, whether it's sitting here for a bit longer and just touching your body and sending that love energy that's there. This is where your desire and your sexual self will thrive more, when you do that more for yourself. More being in the body, more being in the body. All right, ladies, I love you so much. I will see you on day 3 for the heart piece. All right, bye.